So for today's little craft kit, we'll be making soap, specifically squishy soap. So I've never done anything like this before, and usually craft kits don't give you the best result, and they usually don't have everything, but this one gave you instruction about how to make the soap and what to make out of the soap. And it even gave you a little sheet, which is an example sheet, and it even gave you measurements of what you're going to need for it. So it was a very well put together so far. And then it is taped, and I did not realize, so I got a smidge aggressive with it. So what they give you once you rip off the top half is, oh, there's my dog. They give you one plastic spoon. They give you one cup, which is 30 millimeters. And then they give you micro powder, which is actually super cool powder. You also can buy it off of Amazon. It's really, really cool to work with, and you can do a lot with it. So they give you a lot of rainbow colors about that. And then they gave you metallic shimmer, like a silver, and then white shimmers, which were really, really pretty. And then they gave you rice flour, which I know is something they also use for candles and stuff. And they gave you 4 packets, which I was already concerned about because that's a lot of soap, I thought. Which it kind of was, but it also wasn't. So it's a good filler activity, I would say. And then they also give you what looked like a sculpting tool. I'm not 100% sure. So definitely I'm not experienced. So this kit is also made for kids. So everything's kid safe. And then they also gave you their own soap, which has an amazing smell. It smells so good. So I would recommend wearing an apron and taking off all jewelry while you're doing this, and maybe rolling up your sleeves. So for one rice flour packet, also you're going to need a bowl, that requires 2 of the little cups. And I was like, why didn't they give you a bigger cup? Why would they just give you one small cup? But not that big of a deal. So you just fill up it twice, and then you use the little spoon that they give you to dump it out. So you try to remember 2 per packet. So I scraping it out was pretty easy and pretty satisfying because I thought it'd get stuck more, the soap in the cup, and it really didn't, so it was good. And then you're supposed to spoon it together for 1 minute, and it looked like nothing. I was like, this is way too little of soap to do anything, and I was already getting pretty worried, but I've also never seen soap being made, so I really did not know what to expect. But once it starts clumping together and looks like you have bedding now for your hamster, now you should be able to knead it like bread. The instructions for this were actually very well done. They had pictures, and the words were very well done. So it wasn't all that hard to follow. But as you're kneading, it is kind of difficult to start off. Once you kind of get it going, it works. And it's a fun way to crack your knuckles. So it kind of reminded me of oobleck, I think is what it's called, where it's a solid but then a liquid. It was kind of like that, 'cause sometimes it was really powdery, and then other times it stuck together. So it was hard but soft at the same time, if that makes any kind of sense. So it takes a while to knead it because you need to put it in a ball first and then scoop it into the bowl and knead it. So it does turn very, very powdery. So you have to be careful to try to get everything in your hands. Will be very, very sticky. So watch out because you're not about to get this off your hands. And I have very long nails right now, and it kept getting stuck underneath my nails. But then I was looking over the little template that they have, and it was really cute. Honestly, I was very surprised they had it in there. It was very well put together. But personally, I really just wasn't feeling like doing that today. But I'm sure if you did want to use it, it would probably turn out great. So I was really surprised by this. It was already put together better than some of the other kits I've done before. But now I followed the instructions, and it says that you're supposed to carve it out and make a little bowl for adding coloring and sparkle. So I decided for the first one to use the pink micro powder. Now, if you guys haven't seen micro powder, it is honestly the coolest thing ever. I am blown away by it. If you use it in water, it is so cool. Like, I was watching a lady make potions with it for like a Renaissance fair, and it is literally the coolest thing ever. So you can buy it on Amazon for pretty cheap. So I will list the pricing because this was honestly such a cool experience to use it with. And I gotta say, it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have ever dyed clay, like putting paint inside the clay, where it just like kind of like comes out all in like one thing. So your counter will get pretty like messy and your hands get pretty messy because you have to sit there and you have to knead. But the micro powder doesn't seem too terrible. So it's definitely like a manageable thing. But if you don't want any staining, then I would recommend bringing gloves for this, which is not something I'm missing the words here, include. So now that I have pink, I did the exact same thing for green, but I did it with a smaller ball. And then I decided to flatten it out a little bit. They said your creation should be pretty thin. So I did some thinner and some thicker just to see like how the difference would be. So first things first, I flattened out my hands, and then I flattened it down on the table. And then I took the little green and I flattened it on my hands a little bit. And then I just started ripping at it because I'm not sure you guys can tell yet, but I'm trying to make a tomato. And this one is probably one of my least favorite of like the food designs that I did. Just because I don't know if you can really tell. Like, I think you can tell that it's a tomato, but I don't feel like it's that like, I don't know, cute or well done, if that makes any sense. It definitely looks like a 2-year-old did it. So, but, you know, so it's gonna get used anyway and die, I guess. So, after I got done using all these, I put them on the instruction manual while I made all the others. I'm not sure if you should, leave them on your counter. They might get, a little stuck to it. So that's why I put everything on the instruction manual, because I just wasn't using it. So once I got done making my little tomato, I thought, at first I was really proud because it's my first one. But then I just kind of kept going through and just, trying out all the different colors, making all different designs. And my one goal was just to, try out different combinations. I wanted to try out a lot of different things to give you guys a good, accurate result about how the kit is, how it acts, how I got to use it. So I'm trying to do a lot of different things to kind of show you guys. So for this one, I'm not sure if you guys can tell by the colors green and purple what I'm making here. And you'll probably be able to tell by the end. But I was trying to make this one a little bit thicker to see if the thicker ones would work just as well as the thin ones do. And I'm making grapes, if you cannot tell. But I would say that the thick ones and the thin ones both turned out fine. So I'm not sure if it's, if you all have that same result, but that's the result I had. So after going through for a little bit, I finally decided to use the metallic powder. So they are a little hard to get into, but I combined it with purple just to see how it combines. So I did the metallic and the white, and the camera really doesn't pick it up, but it was gorgeous. I loved using these with the color. They were really, really pretty. So after I shaped that, I just made that one to a little bit more of a square bar, like a traditional soap would look for the most part. And I loved this one. And you have to remember that these can get a little bit bigger once you're done with them, and they become darker. So if the color's a little bit lighter, that's okay because it will turn darker. So this one, I decided to use no color to see how it turned out, and I tried to make it to like a dumpling. Did not go well whatsoever. And I ran out of mixture. I guess that's how you would call it. It wouldn't be clay, but it's soap. So I had to make another one, but instead of going, doing one rice flour at a time, I decided why not do all of them. And then that happened. So, and also, I would not recommend doing all of them at once because it did not turn out as well. And I did spill everywhere. So it was all over the table. Color, flour, anything you can imagine. Then I started scraping it like a wild animal. I mean, that was aggressive. So once I scraped it into a little pile, I just put it back in the bowl. So the counter's kind of going to be messy for the rest of the video because I did not feel like cleaning it up. But the reason why I would not recommend doing all of them at once is because it just was too much for the bowl, I think, to handle. And then I had to do math to remember how many like cups of the soap. And I noticed after doing like, I don't know, 3 of the soaps, which I needed 6, there was not enough soap. There was not enough soap for every packet. So I ended up using my own soap, which kind of was frustrating to me. It turned out just fine. And soap is obviously a very easy thing to get, but just be aware that there was not enough. So for this time, I tried to use 2 different powders at once. So I did orange and yellow, and I just put them in the like same little hole that I usually do. And I took a little bit smaller this time because I really wanted the color to pop. This one was probably my favorite out of all the soaps I did. I feel like it turned out really, really pretty. And I can't explain it, but it just I loved it. So for this one, I decided to do a little bit bigger of a bar of soap, and the blue did kind of explode on me. And I did also love this one, but this one's very, very thick. So I really don't feel like size matters all that much in these. So I feel like the thin one was just them kind of taking more of a precaution, because the thick ones turned out just fine for me. So I just kind of sped through, and I didn't show all of them on camera, but I did a large majority on camera. But this activity probably took me like 2 hours, so it's a really good time filler. And if you want to take more time, do more intricate designs, then this could roughly take you like 3 hours. So I feel like it was a great kit, and you can just see the amount of pigment on my table just accumulating. So definitely be aware that's going to be dirty. So I did want to try to use the sculpting tool because I was trying to use everything that there was in the kit. And I already had this thing blue, so I was like, oh, a blueberry. And so I decided to scold it like that. It scolded really easily and just went right through. And I actually thought now that's a pretty good thing that they added this, because now you can do a lot more detail with it. So for this one, I wanted to try not using a color with the shiny. So I just added a lot of shiny without any color. And when I mean a lot, I mean a lot of shiny. Like half the bag in there. And this one's probably my least favorite, honestly. So I cut out parchment paper and put them on parchment paper. And then I let them steam for a little while. You want them to look like really sweaty and moist. And then you take them out and then you flip them so they dry. So then I want to go ahead and use it to test it out. I chose the ugliest one first, obviously, because I used Access Pigment on this one to make it. So I got my hands wet, and the squishy did not disappoint. It was actually squishy. It was real squishy soap. And so I just tried to scrub it, and I realized it's not really all that soapy. So the box slide, it is not sudsy, no. It's the tiniest bit sudsy, you can't even see it on the camera. So I really tried to scrape it, and there's some user error. It was not even slippery. I don't know how I really dropped it, but you can see a tiny bit of sud on there. And then I just washed it off, and let me tell you, this soap smells fantastic. Really, really good. So overall, my review of the Squishy Soap Kit, I would say it's a really good kit. I would totally recommend it, and I'd probably buy it again, honestly. I mean, the materials were all good, except for the fact that there wasn't enough soap, but soap is a pretty common thing to get. It was squishy, like it said, really bubbly, and my whole house smells delicious, and I really like stays on your hand, and the dye really isn't that bad, and cleanup was very easy. So I feel like you get these out to friends and like as gifts, because you don't have to do what they say. You can make circles or like squares like I did, and it works great. So I would recommend this kit, and it was not bad. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.